it's all on opinion. Like, you know, you might be in favour, you might not be in favour, and yeah, at the minute, like, it's just, you know, Eddie Jones, his opinion on Sam Simmonds isn't a good one. It's not good enough to be in that England side, and it baffles a lot of people, but that's why Eddie Jones is in his job, and that's why he gets paid the money he does.
But anyway, moving on. So Stephen Jones wrote in his column that Ellis Genge is incredibly overrated. Is that a fair comment at this point in time, Jack?
No. I don't think. Ellis Genge, again, I'm a good friend of him. I think he's a top bloke, and it's hard because from the outside, if you don't know him, maybe you could have that opinion. But I've seen what he can do on the field, and I've seen what he can do off the field. But I think what he adds is something you can't really teach. He's like almost like a ball of anger that, you know, as soon as he gets his ball in his hand, he's trying to run through whatever's in front of him. And, you know, you can't get that in some players. It's very hard to do. But for me personally, if I look back to some of his best years, you know, a few years ago, he was a bit younger, but, you know, some of his stuff he's done in the Premiership, you know, running over Dylan Hartley.
Yes.
I like this. They always like to replay it as well. You know, he's got that streak in him, and I think it's just trying to find it and just trying to get it out and giving him the chance to get it out, because he knows he's got a few bits to work on as well. But that passion and that anger on the field sometimes is uncoachable. So to have that and to have that on your team, because he will do anything for you, you know, on the field. He'll look after you out there. So to have that in a player beside you, I think is pretty special.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think we all saw what he did on the pitch on Saturday when he kind of continuously elbowed Johnny Sexton in the face. I know Johnny asked for it to be looked at by the ref, but the ref said no, he'd look at it after the game. So Zibo, what did you make of that incident? Because Johnny looked furious.
Yeah, and rightly so. I can understand completely why Johnny was furious. But as Jack said, Ellis, you can tell, you know, by playing against him and watching him play, he's a player that plays on the edge, you know, and in international rugby, you have to have a certain level of aggression, especially if you're in the front row. You know, they're half mad half the time, all those lads playing in the front row. So you have to have that aggression, and a lot of players play on the edge, and Ellis would definitely be one of them. Obviously, the ref didn't look at it or pick it up. In my eyes, obviously, it's a straight red card. You know, you see guys getting sent off for way less. But he didn't get sent off, and that's the way it went. You know, it's unfortunate for Johnny. Sure, he was disappointed with the ref's decision. Him and Matthew Reynal don't have the best relationship. But yeah, those things, you know, can happen. You know, players playing in the heat of the moment, they react different ways. And, you know, I'm sure he knows that it was kind of stupid, or his coaches would have told him, you know, you could have gotten a red card there and made us play the rest of the game with 14 men. So, you know, it's...
Are they holding him down though? Like this, I've watched this clip, and I'm pretty convinced Johnny's being quite smart. He's holding him down, stopping him getting to that ruck. Streetwise Johnny Sexton, we all know. And he's just giving him a bit of an elbow rub in the face. He hasn't struck him in the face with an elbow. He's kind of rubbed his face. It's like basically doing something annoying and someone grabbing you by the back of your head and rubbing your face in the dirt. It's not illegal, potentially foul play, but it's just roughing him up. Or am I wrong?
I thought, you know, his elbow, you know, Johnny's head wasn't, you know, lying on the ground the whole time. So if Johnny's lifting his head a little bit and Ellis smashes his elbow into his head and he hits the ground then behind him, that can knock you out. You know, I've seen lads get knocked out for less. Now, I'm sure Johnny knows exactly what he's doing. You can't see the camera angle where his hand is probably holding Ellis down.
Exactly.
You know, and he knows, he's a smart guy. He knows that Ellis plays on the edge and he could be a hothead and something like that could happen. But, you know, for the ref not to look at it or do anything is a bit strange when you see guys getting sent out for, you know, bad clean-outs when there's no ill intention. And then, you know, you see something like that, even though, you know, at the end of the 80 minutes, Ellis would probably approach Johnny and maybe apologize or, you know, not mean him any ill will. It's within the 4 lines during 80 minutes, but those things happen. Strange one for me.
Yeah,
you never see Simon Zebo behaving like that on Rugby Show.
No, God, no.
Seems to never get into a fight. Well,
No.
is this somewhere, like, is this something that you'd actually like to see the introduction of the captain's challenges for the TMO? Just say, take that as an example. Is that where you'd like to see this brought in?
Potentially, yeah. You know, if it could seriously impact the game. If England go down to 14 men, imagine Ireland are losing the game by 5 points. And that's, if the tournament or the championship's on the line and Ellis gets sent off, that's a huge swing in the game. And that could be a Six Nations to one team or the other. So it might be a good idea. You know, you don't want a challenge getting called for every little thing that happens in a game that would ruin the game as well at the same time. So it's a fine line. It's a hard one to nail that one as well. So I don't know what you think, guys.
Yeah, I think Ellis Genge, he does play on the edge. Jack said Jack knows him better than all of us. So he obviously plays on the edge. He's a tough player, uncompromising, just brings it, doesn't he, emotionally, which you can't coach, and is 95% of what we do. He brings it to a level probably more than a lot of other players. But I think he's quite lucky to get away without a penalty. Like, you can't do that. Like, you know, regardless of whether it's a card or not. You know, if he locks it out on replay, that's a minimum a penalty for doing something like that, especially the game we're playing nowadays.
Yeah, I'd love to, like, I want to say, like, I'd love to play with him. You know, what a player, man. I played against him here at the arena, and he carried about 4 wrestling lads on his back for 40 meters, and we were all just like, what the hell, you know, this guy's amazing. But he was one of those guys who plays on the edge, and you want to play with a guy like that. You know, he's a class player, but sometimes it's hard to get it right all the time, and obviously he didn't get it right there, but was lucky to get away without a sanction.
Oh my God, he was so lucky. Didn't he call Johnny a granddad or something as well?
Sure, I call Johnny a granddad all the time. Good on you, Ellis.
Well, look, Eddie Jones has come under fire to maintain his position as head coach by numerous pundits from Delalio to Sir Clive. So, guys, if you were in charge of the RFU, what would you do? And who would you replace him with if you had to make the call? Jamie, you're smiling, so I'm going to start with you.
I was going to say, you can't ask Jack that.
Ask Jack that.
Jack, he's the chief executive officer of England Rugby. What would he do? There needs to be change. I don't think you can have a tournament like that, the reverse Triple Crown, and there not be change. That change doesn't necessarily have to be Eddie Jones. It can be coaches beneath him or a fresh influx of some playing members of the squad in key positions. But there needs to be change, and I've no doubt there will be change. Or the way they try and play the game. No, I think the frustrating thing for me from England on the weekend, yes, they lost quite a few collisions and got bullied, but whenever they got some momentum in that middle third of the field, they just kicked the ball away. They kicked it away. They didn't kick to compete. They didn't kick with a good outcome. They just kicked the ball away. That just baffles me. Whether that's, you know, the halfbacks having an off day or what have you, but I just couldn't get like their playing philosophy. So something's going to change there. I don't think that's necessarily Eddie Jones losing his job and then replacing him with someone, but wouldn't surprise me if there's change in the coaching staff underneath him.
Surely he deserves another World Cup cycle after getting to the final, you know, coming up against a class Springbok side. But yeah, it would be very, very, very tough on him if he lost his job in the middle of a transitional period for the team, I suppose. So yeah, I'd agree with you. I think it'll be an interesting year and a half for them. See how they go. But...
Yeah. So Jack, if you were chief executive for England,
I feel like you can't become with the same team pretty much. It's the same core of the team. You can't go from a World Cup final to then having an off Six Nations and then be called crap players or crap coaching setup. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that. It's only been, a year and a half, 2 years tops. Like, other teams don't get that much better in that time with players that are still young and fresh and have that experience. So, you know, I genuinely do think it was a bit off. I think, like we've said, you can change it. Something needs to change a little bit. Maybe that's the game plan. Maybe that is the amount of time that we kick the ball. But in a way, going forward now, I think kind of we've had our bad run. We've had a bad tournament. We've not left hands to lose now. I think it's quite exciting that we can actually go out now and just think, you know what, we could just give it a go. And that's what I hope. Hopefully I'm there. Hopefully I'm fit to be playing. That I can go in and maybe have a bit of an impact. But do you know what? Let's just give it a go.